You know, John, this is the last week for David Letterman.
It is. Tomorrow night's the final episode. I'm going to miss Letterman. It brings back a lot of good memories of college, living in a co-ed dorm at Whitty Hall on the 8th floor, and we'd all gather at 10:30 on weekly, or nightly, I should say, and watch Letterman in his first season. That would have been 1982, so it goes back a few years.
You're getting kind of nerdy with that story.
Yeah, it is kind of nerdy, but what else you going to do?
In honor of Letterman's last week, I thought we would do our own little list.
Yes.
We're not going to do all the top 10, but I guess between us we have 10. We might have some crossovers. We're going to do the top 5 spring sports things to watch for as the WIAA postseason will arrive next week.
Next week.
So we'll do our best Letterman impression here this week and maybe talk some Triple Crown at the end.
Yes, some American Pharaoh
going for the Triple
divining
Crown
rod
couple
that
weeks.
Cost me a little bit of cash, but that's okay.
That's coming up on this week's episode of Extra Points. What's up, everybody? Welcome into Extra Points. I'm Gazette sports editor Eric Schmolt alongside sports writer John Barry. We have our own Andy Ryder over here producing.
Yes,
maybe he can play the piano.
Magnificent job. I think there's Emmys in Andy's future. I don't think there's any question.
I was thinking maybe he could be our Paul Schaefer this week.
He could be.
We're going to try to do a little Letterman here. There he is.
Well done.
This is where we get together every week and talk state and local sports. And
we try.
We're going to do mostly high schools this week, and we're going to do a little Letterman tribute with a top 5 list of things to watch for here. WIAA postseasons begin next week with regional golf, regional softball,
tennis.
If you're watching this on Wednesday, the regional seeding meetings for softball are taking place, probably maybe as you watch this. And so, as fast as it started, it's already time to get into the postseason.
Are we going to have celebrity guests that will be announcing each one of our picks?
I thought about having maybe some people come in and read some mean tweets.
Because we've got a building full of celebs. I mean, we could bring in Al Fagerly could come on in, and our own Skip Bliss could come in, but I guess that's a no.
We didn't think that far ahead.
Okay, all right, okay, so fine.
We didn't want to parody him too much, you know.
No, I know.
I guess without further ado, we should just get right into it.
Okay.
Well, let's just go up and down we'll go from the bottom to the top of our list, and we can argue and compare notes here. Let's start with your number 5, the number 5 thing to watch for in the spring sports tournament season here.
Do I have to wait? Is there going to be a drum roll or no?
No drum roll.
Okay. All right. My top 5.
Your number 5. Give me your 5.
My number 5 is, will the Elkhorn or Whitewater girls soccer teams make a bid to state, much like the Delaware boys did, which means they'd have to go through a number 1 seed to get there. Interesting, yes.
Soccer. I'm surprised that you went soccer. You're not exactly a soccer addict.
Looking at it, both teams playing well, and both teams playing, competition that's going to be Division I. So they play good schools, and their one-loss record may not be the greatest, but when you play good competition and you get into a tournament and you go down a division, that usually helps. And I don't know why things are moving it here right now.
Hopefully we won't light a fire.
Hopefully
here.
It's not poltergeist as we record this. But no, and I think when you look at it, I think Catholic Memorial would be in Whitewater's sectional, and Elkhorn would have to face Oregon in there. So, certainly big hurdles, but, after watching the Delaware boys go through Grafton and Catholic Memorial and getting to state and winning state, it just shows you that you play good teams along the way. Sometimes that's enough to push you over the top.
Yeah, McFarland, I think, won the Rock, and Whitewater was kind of right there on their heels.
Right.
So any of those Rock teams really could make a little bit of a run. It's kind of just a matter of getting hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. So that will be interesting to watch. That wasn't on my list.
See, there you go. I surprised you already.
Number 5 on my list, watching the relays from here in Janesville, I think.
Okay.
Quite a few decent relay teams, and it really starts with Parker's 4x4, which set the Big 8 meet record this past Friday.
Not going to comment on that one a whole lot.
Why is that?
Not going to comment on that one a whole lot.
Oh, he might have that one somewhere else on his list.
Might be on my list, yes.
All right, well.
But if we can look in general, and you're definitely right there. I mean, Craig's got the Craig boys, both their 400 and 800 relay teams have certainly a good chance to get through that sectional and get to state. And you get to state, anything can happen because times come down and people are more apt to just run their best. And a lot of it, like you had talked about, can you stay healthy? I mean, I've seen a lot of great athletes in the past, that just get hurt at the wrong time. And the biggest one right now, obviously, is Ian Renicky, the triple jumper and long jumper that's going to the Ivy League school that, really hasn't competed much this year. And you hope he gets a chance to as a senior because he's certainly good enough to get on the podium.
Yeah, they're saying that he was hoping to, but I think, he would have hoped to have been a Big 8 last week too, and wasn't.
And now he's got another 10 days to rest. So hopefully next Tuesday when regionals come around, Mr. Renicky's ready to roll.
I think the thing for the relays, one, obviously getting to state will be a big one, but I think even for that Parker 4x4, maybe to try to get a podium spot would be
right.
Is probably the thing I'm watching the most.
Definitely.
If they can find their way to the podium at state track. All right, what do you got for number 4?
Number 4 on my list, can Janesville Parker's boys golf team sneak through with a state bid?
I also have that at number 4.
Okay, well, then we're kind of similar in that one, I guess. But, I mean, no, you think about it, very young.
3 freshmen.
3 freshmen and John Milner, the senior that's been to state twice. And you hope that John provides some good leadership and some encouragement so those younger kids, the nerves don't get to them. The regionals are at Kruger, Beloit. Of course, they know very well. They played it, between a scramble and the Beloit Invitational, and I think there was one other event. They played it 3 times, so they know the course. Sectional is where is...
I want to say it's like Sun Prairie.
Sun Prairie or something like that, which is a course they didn't play very well, but at least they got a chance to play it, which some of those teams won't have gotten that chance. So Lake Geneva Badgers in there, certainly the favorite. The only team that's ranked.
They've beaten Badger, though,
they've beaten Badger
this year.
But the only team with some state recognition right now in the ratings, but a wide open sectional and one that I would expect Parker certainly to get to sectional, and then only the top 2 teams go, and you hope that John Milner isn't a lone qualifier, that he gets to go with his teammates this year.
Yeah, it would be fun to watch, and even if they don't make it, they're going to get some great experience for a young group that really has a lot of potential going forward. But I just think it would be fun to see. I mean, there can't be a whole lot of teams that would have 3 freshmen that would have a chance to even be in this position.
And certainly
I think
bode
that
well for the future. Yeah.
Speaks a lot for where the program's at. And obviously John, with being able to shoot low 70s pretty much every time out is the guy who kind of carries that team. But,
he does.
Any of the, it seems like depending on the day, 3 of those other 4 do their job.
Yep.
And you never know which one of them is going to probably not have a great day, but 3 of the 4 usually seem to do solid enough or hit their average.
And usually at
that usually does the trick.
You got to be below 330. You've got to be in the 320s, maybe the high teens. And if you are, that's usually going to get you through. Now, they played Sun Prairie last week, and I think they were, 351 or 345?
Everyone was big that day.
It was big that day. Obviously, the weather had a lot to do with it. It was very windy and cold. But, you take what you can from playing that, and you learn some things. And a lot of times in tournament golf, it comes down to course management. You can hit the ball a mile, but do you need to hit your driver on every hole? I mean, there's things you learn when you play a course that you can leave your driver in the bag, and you just got to manage your way through it and realize that when you have a bogey or double bogey, you got to throw it away. I mean, you got more holes to play, and you can't let it get to you. And try to come in with an 80. If you can come in with an 80, everybody shoots an 80, and then your number 1 golfer, Milner, or somebody can come in with a 75 or something, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
They've been in the 320s a couple times this year, so we know they can do it.
They're certainly capable.
Just a matter of doing it on the big stage.
Right.
So we'll see how they react to that. Yep. Number 3.
Number 3 on my list is, if healthy, can the Parker boys as a team finish in the top 10 at state? If healthy. And the reason I say that, it is obviously they're going to score points, in that relay, hopefully. And certainly if Sandy Toyer and DJ Vance are healthy, they can both score in the 100, the 200, and the 400. Mark Brooks, hurdles the 110 highs and the 300 intermediates, certainly with a chance to score there. And, are they going to win it? No. Are they going to finish in the top 5? No. But as young as they are, to go up there and place in the top, 10 would be a great showing for them. And again, it comes down to health. Toyer's been battling a hamstring injury all year. Vance, I know you got a chance to talk to him, said he's going to be ready to go at the regional meet.
Yeah. I mean, I think his knee's banged up, but I mean, I think talking to all of those guys, if it's something that they can fight through, they're going to fight through it. And I think they showed that on Friday. I mean, I talked to Joe Dye I don't know, an hour before they ran that record-setting relay, and he didn't know if Sandy Toyer was going to be able to run that. Well, he gutted it out, and not only that, but when he took the baton, he had a guy right on his heels and held him off the whole way.
Right.
So I think these are guys that have shown they're tough and they can gut it out when they need to, and hopefully, having this week off, maybe it should help them heading into regionals and sectionals.
I don't know, you'd have to go back a ways, but, Parker, you always think of it football-wise, it's always kind of been tailback you with a number of good kids, but every year the Parker boys track team sends their mile relay team to state. I mean, it's a given, and obviously this year is a special group. I mean, they were at 323. I think the state record by Nicolay is about 20 years old, and that's at like 318 and 319, something like that. And you get up at state lacrosse on a hot day against the best of the best, and you're surprised how much time's come down. So that group certainly, I'm not saying they're going to go out and set a state record, but certainly could contend for a state title.
Should be fun to watch. My number 3 also in the realm of track and field. My question is, who is this year's Logan Maurer? It seems like every year, particularly at Division II level, we have somebody from the area who maybe doesn't have the best time, but is somewhere in the top 10 in either their marks or their times, that goes up there and wins it all. Mm-hmm. And we don't necessarily see it coming beforehand, but they go up there and do it. Last year, Logan Maurer from Broadhead Judah won both, discus and shot. 2 years ago, I think of the Edgerton kid who I think was a case in Cleveland that won the pole vault, where maybe we weren't thinking that they were going to win it going in, and lo and behold, they go up there and do it. And so I'm wondering maybe who this year's Logan Maurer is.
Well, I know
it could be him again. I mean,
and the Schmidt kid from Edgerton, I think his pole vaulted 14 feet. And certainly, again, you get up at state, you get near that 15-foot mark, which is kind of the magical mark at state, and pretty good chance, especially in Division II, pretty good chance of finishing in the top 1 or 2 if you can go 15 feet. Now, I don't know if he's capable of that, but certainly, he went 14 feet at the Rock Valley meet.
There was a Whitewater
kid as well.
I'm forgetting his name.
Is it Stoneworth?
Yes.
Stoneworth.
Keegan Stoneworth.
Whose I think younger sister was a state pole vaulter as well. So, a chance for those 2 kids to do something, because it's just one of those days if you're hitting and you just feel good on the warm-ups, and when you're competing, you just never know what kind of a mark you can get up there.
And it could be Maurer again.
It could be.
Maybe it wouldn't be quite the surprise since he did it last year, but looking at his throws so far this year, he hasn't really gotten back to that point yet. Now at the Rock Valley meet over the weekend, he was getting closer to those marks.
And again, not on the, Saturday, let's face it, wasn't the greatest day to compete.
Right.
And Kaylee Reynolds is another one, a sprinter from Whitewater, who certainly is amongst the best times in the state in Division II in the 100 and the 200, and a kid that just a great athlete. And there again, you hope to see her bring out her best at the state meet.
Somebody's probably going to win a title.
I would think so. And then we'll scramble to find the coach and get a hold of him and talk to him, and like we did with Logan last year.
Number 2.
Number 2 on my list. All right. Will the winner of the Evansville Sectional Regional D win a state title?
This is softball.
This
D2 softball.
D2
right?
softball.
That was also number 2 on my list.
Okay, well there you go.
I mean, it's a stacked sectional.
It is.
Beloit Turner, McFarland, Delavan Darien, Monroe,
Turner.
I said Turner. Start.
Okay, Turner. Yep. And it really comes down to pitching, and anyone that's followed our show knows that we're very high in Jenna Speth and Kelsey Packard, and I just think personally that Turner's got maybe a better overall team, but Delavan certainly plays in a better conference.
Exactly.
And,
they get tested all year.
You get tested all year with Westosha Central and Burlington and Waterford, and again, Delavan drops down. And that makes a huge difference in any sport. I don't care what sport it is. When you drop down a division,
especially when you're playing the
number 1 team in the state,
2 or 3
twice.
teams that are like top 10 Division I teams.
Yeah, and it's going to make a big difference. But I've hung my hat on them all year. I just think this is Turner's year. I think they've got a special team. And the thing about tournament is you're not throwing different pitchers. Let's face it, you're going to see Kelsey Packard. And you're going to see, Bob's best lineup, and you're not trying things out or experimenting or getting kids on the field. You're playing your 10 best players, and you go from there. And I think with Kelsey on the mound and with that lineup, they're going to be tough to beat. Again, doesn't mean they can't get beat, and certainly if Speth's on, she can shut anybody out.
It'll be fun to see Delavan Darien and Turner play again. I mean, it's become almost a yearly deal, and Delavan Darien's won both the last two. But I mean, they're close, highly competitive games, and I would like to see it happen for a third time while Packard's still there, and it kind of becomes Packard versus Speth a little bit. Hopefully, we get that matchup. But yeah, you'd like to think that whoever comes out of there is going to have
I mean, they've already proven themselves, by coming out of that sectional or that regional, and the upper half of that sectional, certainly some good teams, but not the powerhouses that are in the bottom half. Because I mean, even Monroe, which maybe is down a little bit, has been strong for so long that don't count the cheesemakers out either.
You think whoever comes out of there wins it all?
No. I don't. No, there's always some team that not really maybe is on the radar, in another part of the state that we're not really haven't heard about, or they might have a stud pitcher, but I don't think so. But if it does, I think it's going to be Turner.
Number one. I imagine we're going to agree again.
I don't think we're going to be much drama in this. Janesville Craig's quest for an unbeaten and historical season in baseball, and
I've called mine just Janesville baseball in general because I would like to think that whichever team I would like to think that one of the Janesville teams is going to come out of that sectional and give us a second team from Janesville at state in a row.
Very vague. What a vague number one that is. I would have gone with just Craig. No, but
well, you did. You already.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the Cougars. I'm going to go watch them this afternoon. This is on Tuesday. Play Sun Prairie, which is coming off wins over second or third ranked Bayport and Kenosha Bradford, and the Cardinals are maybe the most helter-skelter team I've seen in a long time as far as the season. They get swept by Middleton. I think they got 5 or 6 losses. They've got to win out and hope Craig loses the last 4 to not win the Big 8, which they've done for the last, I think, 6 years now. So, the Cardinals hard to figure out, but playing at home, a big test for the Cougars. But I think if the Cougars get by this, they at least go undefeated to end the regular season, and then it's postseason. Anything can happen.
Yeah, you have a big burning question that you.
I do. My thoughts.
Maybe this won't be relevant by the time.
Yeah, well,
we'll see. It depends on what happens Tuesday.
Is Craig better off losing a game before the tournament, in your opinion?
I guess that's the one thing we always ask. We asked with Kentucky going into the NCAA tournament. I would say no. I don't ever see a benefit in losing, but so I don't understand why a loss would. You think just because of the pressure?
I don't know, I think I'm siding with you on this. I mean, they're 17, 18-year-old kids that seem to be handling the pressure pretty well right now. I mean, they go out and get the job done, and I think Coach Herbst, really gives them a reality check every day in every game and says, look, this is one game. Let's move on to the next one. We're not talking about going unbeaten. We're not talking about winning a state title. We're worried about the next game on our schedule, which happens to be, Sun Prairie today. And they'll concentrate on that. I guess the only thing I would say is, if they do lose a game, now that they've won the conference, can you kind of exhale a little bit? Like, okay, that bit of pressure's off. We've lost a game. We did win the conference. Hopefully someone at the Gazette paid the light bill this month because that lamp is about ready to go out. And no, but I mean, you look at it from a standpoint of, I agree with you. I don't want to. You play to win. I mean, that's what you do.
I would think by the time they got to sectionals, whether they had 1 loss or 0, they would feel the same amount of pressure just to get to state anyway.
Yep.
And if you get to state, then you're going to feel just the same amount of pressure to win state as you would if you had 1 loss or 0.
Zero losses, right? Yeah.
I guess I just haven't really thought about it as the perfect season. I would think that.
Yeah.
I would think the pressure to win a state title is going to be there no matter what after you've been ranked number 1 this late in the season.
I would totally agree, and that's why if they by chance happen to lose to Sun Prairie today, put it in the rearview mirror immediately. It's done and over with.
Yeah, I would say if they do lose a game, I don't see that affecting them negatively either.
Exactly, and that's what you worry about. That's the one thing I worry about is, we lost and we didn't play well, and they've been a pretty cohesive, close-knit group all year, and I would expect, win, lose, or draw against Sun Prairie that they'll stay that way. I think their goals, they've met a couple of them, but the big goal's out there still, and they haven't reached that yet. And until they do, I don't think you're going to see any let up in the Cougars.
I don't think so either. And I think we talked about it a little last week, but I thought if you were going to see it, it was when they lost 2 of their pitchers to injuries. Not substantial. They were back pretty quickly, but I mean, you could have dropped a game or 2 in there while they were getting back to full health, and they didn't do that. I think we've talked a little bit before too about. I mean, at this point, it just comes down to whether in the postseason if they run into somebody's stud pitcher who has their best game of the year.
And that's a scenario we talked about. I mean, does Craig run the table, finish whatever 24-0, 22-0, whatever it might be, get to the tournament, and then Rosenblum Larson from West shuts him down, or Hunter Van Zant, who's had their number in the past, not this year, but last year beat him 3 times, that's the hiccup that you worry about, and if that does happen, which, it's a ways off yet, but if it does happen, you hope that doesn't, take away from what's been an incredible season. But I'm sure in the eyes of a lot of those kids, especially the seniors, that's what they'll remember it for, is losing and not getting a chance to play at state. And again, a lot of baseball to be played, and we're throwing out scenarios that may never happen. But, that's the one thing I think when you look at this postseason is, it would be a shame if Craig made that nice run and then didn't get a chance to play at state because they got knocked out in the sectionals.
2 weeks left of baseball. That's pretty much that, and I think girls soccer are the 2 that go on the latest.
The latest, yeah.
And so those are the ones that we'll have to watch for a little bit further down the road. But that's our top 5.
That's our top 5. Thank you, David Letterman.
We had a couple disagreements, but mostly we're pretty much on the same path there. And it'll be fun to watch.
And not to slight tennis by any means. There's kids out there that certainly got a chance to get to state and make a run, but tennis is the one sport where it's kind of dominated by the private schools, and it's dominated by kids that are playing year round and have that opportunity. And
it would be nice to see Jimmy Flynn and Adam Masters make a little run to
It would be
state.
The 2 kids from Craig, at one. But again, they ran into trouble against Middleton, and it just shows you the discrepancy, so to speak, between the area kids and the kids that are coming from the programs that are well established.
We got a couple weeks yet, but American Pharoah going to win the Triple Crown?
I'm saying no. I'm saying that the horses, they'll gather in the best of the best, and they'll bring them in. And I just don't think anyone wants to see anyone win the Triple Crown. And I know I yelled at you last year for it because you didn't want California Chrome to win it. And I'm like, don't you want to see history? And you're like, no, I don't want to see that. So I kind of get that feeling that, as good as he's looked the first 2 races, I just think it'll be a bigger field. Post position, which was supposed to be a problem last Saturday, wasn't a problem. And maybe the fates are just against it. The horse gods, so to speak, aren't gonna let it happen. But our colleague Tom Miller, who knows horse racing as well as anybody, said it's not going to happen. Said that they'll bring in some stud horses that are fresh and haven't run in a while, and they'll bring Pharoah down.
I'm kind of rooting for it to happen this time around.
You are?
Because they had like a contest to spell the horse's name, and they spelled Pharaoh wrong.
Okay.
And so for the rest of time, I want like copy editors and nerds like us that sit in the office and read stories every day to go, well, he spelled Pharaoh wrong, and be like, no, that's how it was spelled.
That's how it was spelled. That's how they did it.
So for that strange reason is why I'm rooting for it
I'd like to see it happen too. I just don't think it will. But again, I'm wrong 90% of the time. So bet against me.
That's the stuff we're watching for in the coming weeks, and you can let us know what you're looking forward to watching at letting us know what you think with a review on YouTube or iTunes.
Facebook.
We might even read it on the show if you give us
we could.
And whether it's good or bad,
yeah,
I don't care.
We'll read some feedback.
Call us an idiot. We'll read it on there.
Yeah. Put your name to it, though. Don't be just random thoughts. Barry's an idiot. We're not going to probably say that. But
you can email it to us as well at sports@gazetteextra.com or find us on Twitter. As we said, thanks to Andy Ryder and Kevin McLeod for the music, and we'll be back here a week from today.
Enjoy retirement, Dave Letterman. You served us well, sir.
Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you next week.